Hello everybody, Charles Wallace here. I'm a technical marketing engineer with Cisco, specifically for the Cisco Vision product line. I'm going to be going through a series of Cisco Vision labs here to get you familiar with the product and its configuration. Um, if you guys need to contact me, my email address is on the board up here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line and I'll do my best to answer them. Um, these labs are going to consist of a PowerPoint presentation, which we're going to go through prior to entering the labs, and then we're going to enter into a series of PDF documents that are the labs themselves. So these are all technical labs. We're going to dive deep into the configuration of Cisco Vision, how to install it, how to configure it, how to operate it. So for this lab, we're going to have a familiarization lab, which we're going through right now. And then we're going to have 17 work labs. So this content was originally generated for a large class and hands-on, so there's some information here that pertains to that configuration. A lot of the requirements obviously don't matter here because we're going to do instructor-led with my PC, and you're going to see everything live. If you were to come to the class, we recommend that you have these equipment and programs to go through the lab. The physical topology of the lab here. So for my lab, I've got an 891, and it's got a Wi-Fi router that I use to access it. I've got a UCS C240 rack server, Catalyst 9300 PoE switch, and 2 DMPs here, 2 TVs here. For your lab, you don't have to go all out and have something of the scale that I've got for the whole training session. If you were to put together your own lab, you'd only need possibly a little Intel NUC server and just some small PoE plus switch. The DMPs require 30 watts, so you could even do it with a PoE injector or external power supply if you have it. And you can keep it very simple. It doesn't have to be something very elaborate. For my lab, I'm going to use ESXi 6.5. That's going to be the base for our VM. We're going to have a single instance of Cisco Vision on there. We're going to use iOS DHCP to give these guys IP addresses. I've got a VM for a web server. It's going to have an XML page that updates for external content that we'll see in one of the later labs. It also is going to have an HTML web server on there so that we can show you how HTML5 content works within Cisco Vision. I've also got a VDCM streamer for channels. In your lab, this may be a little difficult. You may not have access to a VDCM, but if you do a little research, you can come up with a way to stream videos via VLC or something like that. It will work just as well, or you can kind of omit the whole thing. Just depends on what you want to do there. So all the software, obviously, I'm going to have here on my laptop. You guys don't have to worry about that. If you're going to make your own lab, you can surely reach out to me. I can give you some information on how to obtain the software yourself. And that's it. So these labs are going to follow a certain outline here. We're going to go through a PowerPoint presentation at the beginning, and then we're going to go into a PDF where we'll go through the lab specifically. And the first lab here isn't really a lab at all. It's more just familiarization. So this is our familiarization lab. just to give you a little bit of information about what we're going to be doing in the other labs. So Lab 1 obviously is this one, that's topology. Lab 2, we're going to be talking about the digital signage director, how to install it and how to upgrade it. We're going to talk about how to prepare the system for auto registration, and then how to actually enable it and get it working. After that, we'll talk about creating the locations, and then also a way to do it through a CVS or CSV file through Excel, and it's called the BAD tool. We're going to set custom display parameters that allow us to control the resolution of these TVs, as well as set their RS-232 commands for remote control of them. Then we're going to talk about the management dashboard, how to configure some key system parameters and get a little familiar with how the dashboard works. From there, talk about groups and zones, how to put these guys into groups and zones that will eventually control how they play content. We're going to talk about how to set up channels and the channel guides. Then luxury suites, how to put these guys in a suite and control them with an external control application, such as an iPad. And we're going to talk about external content, so how to pull content for things like menu boards off of a web server that can be updated in some back-end method, and then rendered on Director to show the data. From there, we're going to talk about uploading, widgets and menu boards. So they kind of go hand in hand with the previous lab with the external content integration. So we're going to take that external content that we get there, we're going to put it into a widget, and then we're going to build a menu board. From there, we're going to talk about how to get content into Director, how to put it into playlists. Then we're going to talk about how to create a custom display template, which allows you to carve up the screen into different regions and play different content on different areas of the screen. We're going to create an event script. That's how you tie all this stuff together, the groups, the zones, the content, all of it into a single management script that you can go and change the content on the fly. And then we'll talk about how to schedule these, and there's a couple different methods that we use to schedule the scripts. Device management, how to be able to monitor these things remotely for troubleshooting purposes, and then we'll wrap it up with the event triggers, how to send a trigger into Director and how to get one out. So user skills, it's not very important for you guys to have a lot of these skills here because I'm going to be demonstrating them for you. So you just kind of sit back and enjoy it. For the lab topology here, I'm going to have this C240 server, and we have a concept of these pods. So we're going to be pod 101 here. I've not built anything yet, so we'll go through all that. And as far as addressing goes, I've written some of these up here on the board just so you guys can see them. But the main thing is the Director server itself, the SIMC, ESXi, and some ancillary information there as well, but they're not really necessary for the lab, like the BDCM streamer. And then we will go through some of the best practices as we run into them throughout the labs, and we'll go from there. So that'll conclude this lab here, and then we'll start off with the Cisco Vision DSD installation after this one.